at our bi-monthly meetings is very informative, very important, and sometimes gets missed by our numbers. So I'm just glad everyone, I know it's hard and it's a Friday, but I'm glad everyone's here. So what I wanted to do in terms of the panel is first just get a general sense of your kind of some general thoughts on credentialing, and then get to some more specific questions that we had posed by our board members, and also I have some questions just based on some reading and research. And also I have to say it's been a little bit of a troubling morning for me because I read an article last night that I think may have totally changed the way I do credentialing, so I'm really struggling, so I can't wait to hear the panel because I'm going to sit down. So just some general thoughts, and I tend to, as I say at all my parties, I'm left-handed, I'm going to start on the left even though really.
Well, Chris and I were both on a committee, a subcommittee for OMA to look at the issue of credentialing, and we did collect a lot of information, and we kind of kicked it around. But what we ended up disbanding, and some of that was because of a proposal that was being developed through OSU Law School for a mediator alliance program, and I don't know, the momentum that we had sort of fizzled out at that point. Part of it though is because when you look at the issue, it's kind of enormous in terms of the resources that it would take to build such a program, and the amount of time that people would have to invest in it. There are other states that have some minimal qualifications, and they do issue certificates and have a roster of people who at least meet some very basic standards. But when you look at all the way across everything that's being done, it still comes back to the fact, even if you model it after somebody else's program, you're still going to have a lot of work. And that's been one of the issues, is who's going to take stewardship of such a program, and who's going to pay for it, and who's going to implement it. And we sort of got stumped at that point, I think. And so now, like you said, coming around again. And nobody's been able to take it on fully. And not too many other states have done it either. So
it sounds like the committee, while interested in credentialing, perhaps found the task daunting in terms of how would it actually be implemented. And so it was easy when there was something else, I'm not saying, but when there was perhaps something else that had been suggested in terms of Ohio State working on a program to say, let's see what comes out of this and see if we can find something that would work.
I find this one of the most important topics to our profession that there could be. And have been. I had a previous career, as many of us did, and then evolved into falling in love with this process called mediation. And I think as new professionals, we're all excited and we want to use these skills, and we want other people to accept and embrace it. And you say, I'm a mediator, and people say, now tell me what that is again. What is it that you do? And that was all 20 years ago. And I have learned through developing a general practice and then a 501 not-for-profit, and then having difficulty working full-time as a mediator and adapting the practice so that it better suited the business model of our country and who would be willing to pay for it or not. And through all of that, 20 years of experience and working with colleagues, I do believe that we are at a point where we need to become credentialed in order to build legitimacy with our fellow colleagues, to standardize insurance companies and employee assistance organizations, and we're not at a place where we're looked at professionally to say, yes, that is a covered service. Or we can become, or you can become one of our providers because you are a licensed profession, which has been a stumbling block in building a practice for a long time. And I do think that certification would provide a better check and balance as far as quality of practice. So I'm very interested in this topic and willing to invest, even though it seems absolutely overwhelming at times. Have been in discussions nationally through the Association for Conflict Resolution. We've had every year at the annual conference, we have discussions on credentialing and progress and barriers, and the conversation continues. So I think it's something very important for us as a state to look at and invest in.
So it sounds like from your perspective, creating legitimacy for the profession is the biggest reason to credential mediators.
One good reason.
One good reason. Okay.
Well, I don't know what I think.
I don't either now.
It's fun. What's that?
I said I don't either now.
I hear about it. I do remember some fun and lively conversations with Jay some years ago about these things. I think there are certainly benefits to credentialing, and as a community mediation person, the primary concern is how is that done in such a way that it doesn't eliminate most of the volunteer mediators that we depend upon and in fact do a lovely job. And in fact, there are many communities of people are in a position to be a mediator where we would not. You know, these small, impoverished towns in northern Athens County, they're really not interested in credentials. They are interested in if they know you. And that's my concern about what could happen with credentialing, is it could cut out people that I would like to see. And many of the goals are good ones. I guess the other concern I would voice is I just think we want to be careful that we don't end up having the profession defined by what insurance companies will pay for. I know that's not what you're saying, but that road has been traveled by many professions in this country, that the people with money end up shaping what the professions look like.
So creating an inclusive model.
Yeah, or maybe it's a multifaceted model or whatever it is. There's different categories of credentialing.
I agree with lots of things that have already been said. I do favor some sort of credentialing because I think that the mediation process is not yet a profession. And I don't think it's a profession because I don't think that there is any common understanding of what mediation is, or what it should be, or how we should look at people who call themselves mediators to see if they have the proper skills to engage in the profession. I understand the concern about community mediation. And it would seem to me that in looking at community mediation associations around Ohio, that a number of them have very stringent standards in training of their community mediators in such a way that even if those mediators had particular educational background in mediation, their organizations could ensure that they would meet certain qualifications, so make people comfortable that they are qualified to mediate. I think one of the interesting things about this survey that we did was that in certain states on the east and west coast, mediation is better established, largely through state judicial programs. Nobody has found the magic solution state of Washington came closest. The Washington Mediation Association administers the certification program in Washington. It was the only one I think we found that actually went this far. Excuse me, Texas.
In Washington.
So it's rare. And it was interesting looking at other countries, particularly Canada and Australia. They have very well-defined mediation programs countrywide. It's an established process, which, except in rare instances, is not true in the United States.
Great, so one question is, and then this is really open to anyone to answer, but what is it that we're trying to prevent by credentialing? I mean, I think we could say we're trying to provide good service, good process to parties, but what are we trying to prevent through credentialing is our goal? I think you can look at it either way. I mean, I think we're trying to promote good mediation and good mediators, but what is it, who are we protecting, what are we preventing by credentialing?
Or practice. Those who are practicing as mediators do not adhere to the principles of mediation. Which is what concerns the right.
And I think a question would be, do we have consensus on what qualities make a good mediator? If we're trying to prevent that, and the reason I ask, there may be mediators who adhere to a model that I don't personally agree with, but others would say it's a really good model. So but I may say it's bad practice. So do we have a common understanding about what qualities or what type of practice or process is good mediation?
What person had talked about, this person was at the Bar Association subcommittee meeting, talked about, what is this whole thing with good mediators, with kind of, if we credential people, are we also saying they're a good mediator? And it's like, a person can go through law school and pass the bar and go out and practice, it could be terrible. How does that, what we're doing is trying to assure that the people that call themselves mediators are good mediators, and is that really beyond the wherewithal and the resources to do that kind of thing, or is there a minimum standard that can be implemented? And we talked about too, about maybe starting something and then continue to have it grow and add on components. But we'd also talk about tiers of levels of accomplishment, and like if you've, say, been a contract mediator for the court for the last 10 years, you've achieved, you've done a lot, and so that would be maybe one level, because you do have to have there are certain standards that you have to have in education to do that, and then at the bottom then would be volunteers, that volunteers can enter into the process and be part of that, whether it's online or a roster or whatever. But even the question of good mediators is up for discussion.